talk about pricing. Pricing is something that, especially if you are a beginner, it can be very overwhelming to know, how do I price? What should I be pricing at? Am I going to start too high? Am I going to start too low? And if your current pricing strategy, if you can even really call it that, involves like vibes, mild panic, changing your prices every time you look at your shop, then you need this video. Now, the reason why you might need this video is because you're not actually pricing, you're probably just guessing, okay? And then you're wondering why you're always busy, knackered. Then you look at your bottom line at the end of the month, like your Etsy or whatever monthly financial reports, and you're thinking, I really did do all this for nothing. So in this episode, I'm going to walk you through a simple way to price your handmade products for Etsy without a spreadsheet, without needing a maths degree, and without pulling numbers out of thin air and hoping for the best. So basically, we are going to be covering the bare minimum numbers that you actually need. How to include your time, which yes, you should be charging for. Why so many sellers undercharge even when they know deep down that they are actually undercharging. And a really quick confidence check right at the end of this so you can stop fiddling around with your prices every 5 freaking minutes. So if you're listening to this on the podcast version, then hello, welcome. And if you're watching this on the video version, I am going to be glancing down at my notes because as always, I have bullet points and I have my iPad here as well because I really want to make this a lesson, like a tutorial, a proper lesson, not just some YouTube head talking fluff that you see all the freaking time. So the first thing I want to do is I want to clear up the biggest pricing myth. And the biggest pricing myth is that you should feel reasonable. And to that, I'm like, reasonable to who? Like you, when you're feeling guilty about charging what you charge, your mate who says, hey, you know what? People wouldn't pay that despite having never sold a handmade thing in their entire life, or the buyer who is comparing your handcrafted item to something factory made, mass produced that they have found in like Walmart or Tesco or somewhere like that, right? That is the problem, that a lot of handmade business owners, they are actually pricing from emotion, not from a structure that I'm going to be going through in this tutorial. So they go low because they want the product and the pricing to feel accessible for people. And they're scared that if they put their prices up, no one is going to buy, or they think being cheaper means they're going to get more sales. But sometimes it does the exact opposite. And if you're listening on the podcast version, on screen right now, I have cheap does not equal compelling. And you know what? Even if you just walk away with that saying replaying in your mind, then like I was going to say you've got your money's worth, but this video is free. So you have definitely learned a valuable lesson. Like I've probably saved you about 6 months to a year of testing, trialing, prices going up, prices going down and up and down and up and down. Because then as you become more of like a seasoned business owner, you then start to realize, okay, yes, I now realize that just because my prices are cheap does not mean I'm going to get sales. In fact, it's more than likely the opposite. Buyers are not just asking, can I afford this? Okay. And if they are saying that, they are more than likely not really your target market, or maybe you haven't really hit on those people yet and who they really are. But they're not just asking, can I afford that? Okay, they're also asking, does this feel worth it? They're also asking, can I trust this person? Can I trust this brand? And they're also asking, why is this cheaper than all of the others that I'm seeing? And they're also asking, is this good quality, or am I about to receive something that looks like it was boxed during a family argument? Cheap does not automatically feel attractive, okay? Your products are not a commodity purchase. They are not a pint of milk or a loaf of bread or fuel where people genuinely do get peed off because they used to be paying less and now they're paying more and they need to buy this thing, okay? This is a treat purchase. This is a gift purchase. This is a additional purchase that they are making. And sometimes cheap, in fact, most of the time, to be honest with you, cheap feels risky. So pricing is not just a money decision. It's actually a trust decision, a positioning decision, and yes, annoyingly, a confidence decision too. Before you're even thinking about what other sellers are charging, start with your actual basics. You need to know 3 things. You need to know your materials, you need to know your packaging, you need to know your Etsy fees, and all of these things are truly the bare minimum. You cannot price your products correctly without knowing these things. So let's say you are making a personalized bookmark, right? Your card, tassel, laminate, ink, whatever else goes into making it. Let's say that equals £2.20, right? Then you've got your packaging, thank you card, envelope, sticker, tissue paper, all that lovely jazz. That's going to cost 80p. Now your product has already cost you £3 before Etsy has even taken a nibble at it. And then Etsy fees come into play. And this is where beginners often go a little bit foggy and they kind of go, oh, okay, I'll deal with that later. No, we do not want to be doing that. You don't need to calculate Etsy fees to the penny in your head every single day. You just need to remember that Etsy takes a cut and you need to leave room for that. So if your base cost is £3, okay, you do not slap £4.50 on it and call it a business, okay? That is not a business, that is a hobby. Step 2, you want to be adding your time in. And this is where people either massively undercharge or they go the other way and they just completely freeze because they don't genuinely know how to value their time. So let's make this a normality for you straight off the bat. You need to pay yourself for making the thing. That's not greedy, that's literally the point of a business. I don't think beginners need any kind of major spreadsheet. But here's the simpler version. You want to work out roughly how long the product takes you to make. And I mean like actual time. Grab your phone and do an actual timer. Completely time yourself from start to finish how long it takes you to make the product. Let's say if a pair of earrings take 20 minutes to make, use that. If a candle takes 45 minutes of actual hand-on work, use that. Then you want to choose a basic hourly rate for yourself. Not your dream CEO salary. Like, we might not be there yet. We're going to get there, but we're not quite there yet. But also not like, oh, £2 to £5 an hour because you feel nice pricing like that. Pick something sensible that reflects your skill. Then work out labor cost for that item. Basically, if you are a formula gal, time to make times your hourly rate, that equals your labor cost. So let's say your hourly rate is £12 and the product takes 30 minutes. Your labor cost is therefore going to be £6. At this point, once you've done this, we have something a lot more honest, okay? We have base cost here plus your labor cost. And yes, before anyone leaves me a comment, yes, your products will come out more than likely looking more expensive than you expected. That does not mean you've done this wrong. That does not mean your pricing is wrong. Sometimes it simply means that the product is too labor heavy for the price point that you are hoping for. That is very useful information because then you've kind of got a bit of a decision to make. Can you streamline it? Can you simplify the design somewhat? Can you batch make parts of it? Or is it just not the right product to build a profitable shop around? Or even, can you increase the perceived value so that the product makes more sense for that price point? Step 3, stop using competitor prices as your starting point. Because what happens when people panic is that they search Etsy, they type in their product, they look for like similar listings, and they decide on their price point literally based off of what they saw. That's absolutely wild to me because you do not genuinely know what's going on in those shops. You don't know if the seller is profitable. You don't know if they've priced badly. You don't know if they forgot to include their time, their labor cost, the bare minimum. You don't know if they're in a completely different cost structure. Like, you just genuinely do not know. Basically, what I'm saying here is that competitor research is useful for context, but it should not be the sole thing that you are pricing on. It should not be your pricing formula. So yes, by all means have a look, but ask like smarter questions. Things like, are these products positioned as budget, mid-range or premium? What do the photos look like? How polished is the branding? Are they personalized? Do they include gift packaging? How many reviews do they have? What promise are they making? Because like, buyers do not just compare pricing, they compare the whole offer. A £24 product with beautiful photos, strong reviews, a clear gifting appeal, and a polished shop can feel a whole heck of a lot safer than a £14 product with dim photos and a description that says basically nothing. That is essentially buyer psychology, and it is extremely baked into how you price. Step 4 here is make sure that the price matches the listing. This is a massive one, especially if you do sell on Etsy, because sometimes the problem, it's not that the price is too high, it's that the listing doesn't support that price, and that's different. If your product is £28, but your first photo is dark, your title is vague, your description is flimsy, and let's be honest, the buyer has to do detective work to figure out like size, material, what the heck they're actually getting, then that price is going to feel high. Not because it is high, because the trust is low compared to the price. So when you're actually looking at this, the trust has to equal the price, and the price can be mid, it can be high, it can be low, and your listing has to comparatively match whatever you're pricing it as. So go and look at your top 3 listings, okay? And if a buyer landed here cold, would this price make sense in under 5 seconds? Would they immediately understand what it is, who it's for, why it's special, and why it costs what it costs? This is when pricing and conversion are literally glued together, and a lot of beginners don't kind of really see that. Basically, what I'm saying is that if your views are decent but your sales are low, don't just instantly assume my prices must be too high. Step 5. Build in profit, not just recovery. This is honestly something that people do skip over a lot of the time. They cover the cost, the base cost. They might cover a bit of time, but they don't really leave any room for profit. And then growth feels impossible because every new order creates work, not more breathing room. And profit matters because it basically gives your business breathing space. It gives your business wiggle room. It gives your business options, especially when you're thinking about growing. Like, if you want to grow your business, you need profit in order to do that. And profit lets you buy materials without drama. It lets you improve packaging. It lets you run offers strategically. It lets you test things. It lets the business behave like an actual real business. So once you've covered your materials, packaging, fees, labor, do not stop there and go, well, that'll do. Instead, ask yourself, does this price leave me anything after the order is done? Basically, what I'm saying is that your pricing should absolutely not trap you. A lot of handmade business owners will create a low priced range because they think it'll be easier to sell. And then they realize they need loads of orders just to make decent money. It's basically better to build profit early on than try to bolt it on later. Step 6, use a confidence check before changing your prices. Now let's do the bit that stops you changing prices every time you have a wobble. Before you lower a price, ask yourself these 5 things. Did I calculate my costs properly? Did I include my time? Does this listing support the price? And am I comparing myself to other people in my space? And the last one, which is really important, is do I actually have a pricing problem or do I have a traffic and conversion problem? Because those 2 things are not the same thing. So let's get into it. If your Etsy stats show hardly any views, that is most likely going to be a traffic problem. Your price is not going to be the first thing you have to fix here. Buyers can't reject a price that they never even saw. If you're getting views and clicks but very few sales, then yes, pricing might be part of the bigger picture. But so might photos, trust, clarity, reviews, shipping, and the overall offer. So don't just assume it's your pricing. If you're getting favorites but not purchases, that can mean one of a few things. They like it, but not really enough yet. They're comparing. They're waiting for payday. They're unsure on trust or delivery. Or the pricing feels slightly off compared to what the listing is communicating and the vibe it's bringing across. That's why pricing lives inside the entire buyer journey. So that's why we don't keep tweaking that pricing number blindly. We need to read the clues and understand what the stats are telling us. Let's say you make handmade zip pouches, okay? And you've priced one at £12 because you've had a look and that seems to be what a similar one is going for. But when you actually check properly, materials are £3.50, packaging is £1, and your labour for 35 minutes is round about £7. Then fees come out too. Suddenly £12 doesn't look that competitive. So now you've got some choices to make if this sounds like you. Can you batch cut fabric to save time? Can you simplify a finished detail? Can you improve your photos and your listing overall and position it more clearly as a gift? So £18 to £22 feels more fair. Can you create a better value bundle? Like I said, plenty of buyers will pay more when the product feels worth more than the listing is making obvious. And if this episode has made you realize that your pricing might not be the only thing going on that might actually, be affecting your listing so that your shop is just not pulling its weight, you need to go into the show notes or the description below and you need to grab my freebie, Why Your Etsy Listings Are Not Selling Yet and What to Do About It. It's literally a book. It's literally 72 pages, but it walks you through it in a very visual style. In fact, I use this exact iPad to show you and detail down exactly what you need to do to fix your listings and to fix your shop as well. Guys, thank you so much for joining me. Do not forget to subscribe because every week I'm bringing you videos like this. But for now, my lovelies, I will see you all in the next one.